Hello lovelies, how are you all doing today? I hope you are well. I'm okay, apart from the weather. It's really grotty. I had hoped to do today's video in the garden. We're going to do some cooking, well, kind of throwing things together really. Hence why I thought I could do it in the garden, and actually right back to last September when I first clapped eyes on this place and put my offer in, I could envision doing some of my cooking videos from the garden, just like they do on the TV shows, except their backdrop is the Amalfi Coast in Italy, or, you know, somewhere in Sicily. I've got a perfect backdrop here. Never mind, the weather is pretty, it's overcast. Apparently later on we're going to be having thunder and lightning and lashing rain. What, do I believe it? I don't know. The forecast has been rubbish of late. So, what are we doing? I'm really looking forward to this. It's a brand new recipe to me. I pulled it out of a magazine. It was a free magazine. Oh, I've just seen on the back as well, a summer Bakewell tart. Ooh. Yeah, it was a free magazine. It's one of these kind of magazines you get. I think, oh, nice magazine. And then you realise, actually, the whole thing is sort of, it's pretty much a catalogue. This is for sort of high-end kitchenware. Don't know why I have it. So I thought, yeah, let's give it a go. It's an antipasta salad. You don't have to have it before pasta. And it's essentially a store cupboard recipe. Although I'm aware that some folk might not have some of this stuff in their store cupboard. I'm going to show you all the ingredients now. You might not. If you make your own pizzas at home a lot, and if you make a lot of your own pasta sauces, I think you probably have all of this in your cupboard. Okay, so the one thing you might not have in your cupboard, most folk might not, is artichoke hearts. I don't normally have these in my cupboard, but Richard and Paul randomly bought me a few tins of things on their first visit, and this was one of them, so yay. So it's artichoke hearts, they're in brine, so I will drain them, and then I'm going to chop them up a little bit. I like to get a bite of everything with each mouthful. So artichoke hearts, you might not have. I don't know how much they cost actually either. They're probably not cheap. But I think this salad is going to be one of those that's nice if you've got a friend coming for lunch, just to make it a bit more special. The rest I think you probably will have in your store cupboard. Black lentils, a tin of black lentils. Now, there's none in there at the moment because I've got them in the pan in a little bit of water just to warm them through. So tip them out into, I just have them in my sieve. Rinse them really thoroughly, so they're in water, but just rinse them really thoroughly anyway. Put them in some fresh water, that's just going to heat up a little bit, just heat them through, because the recipe starts with, I think they're starting with dried lentils, so they're cooking the lentils for the recipe, and I think actually I quite like salads that have got some warm bits in them. So we've got artichoke hearts, lentils, sun-dried tomatoes. Again, possibly have those in your cupboard. It calls for Kalamata olives, which are the black olives. They're the expensive ones. I generally don't have them. And it asks for half a jar. Well, it just so happens that I've got half a jar of green olives. The other half, they went into my stomach a few days ago with a salad. Then it calls for a lemon. Again, this is a store cupboard lunch for me today, so I'm using bottled lemon juice. So the only thing I haven't got for the recipe is lemon zest. It adds the zest. So this is for the dressing. So I don't have any lemon zest, never mind. But if you've got a fresh lemon, great. If not, use your store cupboard lemon. Some gorgeous olive oil. It doesn't say use gorgeous olive oil, but I always use gorgeous olive oil. Doesn't actually have any garlic in the dressing. I might whack some garlic in because raw garlic is so good for us. And then the only fresh thing is some flat leaf parsley. I haven't got any in the garden. I should get some underway really, shouldn't I? So I've just bought that from my local co-op. I was looking for one, you know, these, you can get pots where they're still alive in them, and I was thinking if I can get one of those, I can then take it out of the little tiny pot, supermarket pot, put it into some soil, and it might keep sprouting. But they didn't have any, just these bags of the stuff, and I think that was about 69 pence. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. Anyway, so that's the ingredients. Let's start chopping them together, and my label's kind of slippy sliding off, just damp from the, I should put my pinny on, damp from the fridge. As mentioned the other day when I was talking about the courgette soup and calculating calories, this is something I haven't made before, so I've got no idea about the calories, but actually, because everything, so I know about my oil and lemon juice because I've got the calorie values for those from right back in end of December, beginning of January. But the rest, of course, I've got the values on the tins, so I'll work that out afterwards and tell you. Also, it doesn't say on here how many it serves. I think probably, let's start getting things chopped up. But I think probably 2 as a main lunch, or maybe 4 if it's as an antipasta. Right, I'm going to get draining and chopping. I just drained the artichokes and I was about to get chopping them, and I suddenly thought, actually, let's get the parsley done first, because this board is going to get sticky chopping the artichokes and the sun-dried tomatoes. So that's not a good looking piece. So I'm just going to really, really rough chop these. I'm not going to make them minute. It's not like I'm, putting them into a sauce or anything. I still want a bit of texture and a bit of bite. Smell. And of course, it's giving that lovely bit of colour as well. Gorgeous, that'll do. That'll do. Okay, so that's the parsley in. Now, artichoke hearts drained. Of course, because they've been in brine, actually thinking about that with the garlic, I might not add the garlic because these have been in brine and, just licked my fingers. It's okay, I'm only cooking for me today. Cooking, throwing together. The brine that's on the artichokes and the, the olives. Yeah, that's enough extra flavour. I don't think I need the garlic. Although, like I said, it's with the garlic, it's as much about the health benefits as much as the sort of the flavour. I'll try it without first. Gosh, I haven't had artichoke hearts for the longest time. It says in the recipe, char-grilled artichoke hearts. And I can understand why, just because of adding that little bit of colour with the char grilling, but that's not what I have, so it's not what I'm using. Yum yum, I'm quite hungry. Okay. Right, now, half a jar of sun-dried gurcha. There we go. Yeah, half a jar of sun-dried tomatoes. I'm just hoiking them out. Popping in a sieve for a second. Is that half the jar? Where's the gap in the label? Beautiful, sweet, and yeah, I've got artichoke heart on everything. Yeah, this will give it a lovely sweet chewy bite. So let's get these chopped a bit as well. Not too much, it's just that thing of, I want to chop them a bit so that, like I said, I can get a little bit of everything in each, well, in most mouthfuls. But you chop to the size that you like. If you like it really small, chop it really small. If you like big chunky bits, keep big chunky bits. Oh, the temptation though is to just gobble one of these down whole right now. Yum. But you know what, shouldn't that be what food does to us as we're preparing it? The colours, the smells, the textures, even as we're doing the prep, it's starting to make us, that's a bit stalky bit, I don't want that. Yeah, it's starting to make us salivate. That digestive process, the process of digestion, which starts with saliva, it started even before we started the meal. Yeah, food should be. Look, I know food is fuel. We eat for the fuel, but let's try and enjoy it as well. So it's not quite half a jar actually. I think I was a bit greedy when I made the salad the other day. So again, I'm just going to chop these in half just to make them go a little bit further. I think this is a salad for two. Looking at it so far. Oh, but I've got all the, what am I talking about? It's got all the lentils to go in. So actually, you know, for a lunch, for whether you're vegetarian or not, I think a bowl of this for a lunch would make a perfectly, not just adequate, but perfectly lovely lunch. We're getting loads of different nutrients, and of course with the lentils we're getting a whole bunch of protein in there as well. I know people worry about protein all the time, it seems. Where's the protein? We don't have to have a load of protein with every single meal. Just so long as throughout the course of the day we get about 60 grams in. I think it's 60 grams, don't quote me. It's a long time since I looked up daily requirements for protein, but this is how we're looking so far. Shall we see how, let's just toss it through a little bit. And of course lemon juice is going to make it really, really zingy. And I know, yes, I did lick my finger earlier. Obviously if I was making this and serving it to, down here, and serving it to friends, I would not lick my finger, but there's nothing wrong with stirring your salad with fingers if, obviously, your hands are clean to start with and you don't lick them in the process. Let's move a bit of that aside, bring that up here. Okay, let's see how the lentils are getting on. It's just one of those days today. Super annoyingly, that whole section I've just done, I didn't record. Never mind. I haven't done that in a long time. All I've done in the meantime is make the dressing, and I've used my little teeny tiny jug to measure. I've got 50 mils of oil and 50 mils of lemon juice. I can't believe I've done that. Just before serving, give them a really good shake. Give it a really good shake to emulsify. Lovely, lovely, lovely. It's my favourite dressing for salads anyway. I'm not a huge fan of oil, of vinegars. The fact is, this recipe is calling for lemon juice, and I think it's lovely with these ingredients, really fresh and summery and zingy. And the other thing was taking the lentils off the stove. They've warmed through, they were a bit steamy, so I was letting some of that steam off first and then combining it with the other ingredients, which I'll show you now. And I was trying to work out in terms of portion size. Let me tip you down, give you a looky-see. Lovely colours. I think that is, well, I think for a really hearty lunch, maybe half of that. So serve 2. As a sort of a starter, serve 4. I think for me, it's going to serve 3, being awkward. So let me just put a garlic skin. Let me just pop it and let me just portion myself some. Now, I haven't dressed the entire salad. Normally you dress your salad in your big bowl. I haven't purely because I'm just being a bit more conscious in terms of how much oil I use. So, in fact, because honestly, I could drown I could drown it in this quite happily. So also it'll be interesting for me tasting it without garlic, because garlic is pretty much a go-to for me. Right, let's tot up calories and have a taste. And remembering I'm having 3 portions of this. So whatever my numbers come to, I'm going to be dividing by 3, apart from the dressing, which will still divide by 4. Oh, right then, checking it's recording this time. Taste test. Just trying to get a little bit of everything. I'm struggling with a spoon. This is a big spoonful, excuse me. Mmm. 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 Excuse me, that was a very tough stalk. That is yummy. There's that lovely, with both the artichokes and the olives, you get that sort of remnants of that briny kick coming through, and then the lovely sweetness of the tomatoes, and then that sort of earthiness of the lentils, and even the parsley's got a slightly earthy quality to it too. And then on top of all of that, the lovely, gorgeous, fresh, zingy lemon juice. Mmm, that's gorgeous. A load of lentils. Mmm. Mmm. That is a hit. A veritable hit. Should we do some calculating? Oh yeah, that's that's really, there's so much zinginess going on in my mouth. You know, lemon juice peps up so many foods anyway. Quite often, I mean, try this, not with huge amounts of lemon juice, but if you've cooked, say, like a bolognese sauce, like I do my mushroom tomato bolognese sauce, if you try it and you think something missing, it's a bit flat, just even a teaspoon of lemon juice popped in, and suddenly the whole thing lifts up and it all starts to sing. Oh, gorgeous. So it's 91 per 100. So this is going to be quite 218. This is going to be a bit up there with the calories because of the lentils and the oil. But who cares? And also the sun-dried tomatoes, because they're in oil. 0.9 times 188. And I said it's not about, so let's add everything together. 218, add 81, add, excuse me, top of my head for a minute. That's that. So in total for the whole bowl, it's 688 calories, not my serving for the entire salad. So if we divide it by 3 portions, that is 2, right, or if it's divided by 4, 4, so you're getting my head at the moment, that's 4, or if you were having it as a really big lunch, there we go, So I think we'd better try it one more time, haven't we, just to make sure it's okay. I'm supposed to be doing a hummus with you now as well. I can't be bothered. It's really nice. And I think I like it with having the warm lentils. It's starting to cool quite quickly, but I think that warmth is really nice. So for this gorgeous lunch, that size portion you saw me plate up for myself, which will do me for a lunch, I'm more than happy with that for lunch. 230 calories, great. But it's really good stuff in here, some really good, the macro and the micronutrients. Sorry, would you like some? So that's if it was 3 portions. If I had a smaller portion that was going to be part of a bigger meal, you know, if I was having it as an anti-pasta, 172. Or if you had half of that bowl each, if you're serving it with a friend, 344. So even if I had half of that whole bowl, that would still come in under my, I don't want to say, my calorie allowance, if you like. I try to keep, as I mentioned the other day, I try to keep my 3 main meals of the day to around about 350. So if I was having it, if I made it a really small portion and had 172, then I'd have some yogurt and some fruit afterwards, or you might even have, I don't really have bread these days, but if there was some bread around, you know, a slice of bread, mop up any of the juices. Oh, it's gorgeous. Sorry, I feel really, haven't got my napkin. I feel really rude stuffing my face and I haven't got any to offer you. What a lovely salad for the summer. Right, I was going to show you, I'm going to make edamame hummus. So edamame beans, soya beans, when they're in their little green, fresh state. It's exactly the same as making regular hummus. Normally we make hummus with chickpeas. So instead of using chickpeas, use the edamame. So we've got edamame beans, some tahini paste, that's your sesame. It's out ready for me to make, but it's been a bit of a weird few days, and I just want to hide. Yeah, it's sesame seed paste. So a couple of 100 grams. It's the equivalent of using a tin can, basically. So instead of using a tin can of chickpeas, I think drained weight, they're usually about 240 grams, aren't they? I use frozen edamame, take them out the freezer the night before so they defrost in the fridge so that I can actually blend them with the tahini, some lemon juice, tons of garlic, I love tons of garlic, and then a bit of oil. It is virtually the same as my broad bean dip. That's what I'll remember to put the broad bean on the end of this video, either here or here. There'll be a card as my broad bean dip. And that's why I did the edamame recently. I was thinking about broad beans and I was thinking how I miss broad bean dip and I haven't made any for ages. Oh, I'll make some edamame instead. The only difference is with my broad bean dip, I didn't use any hummus. Any tahini. I think it must have been at a time when I was having to be really, really frugal. Probably really broke that week. Because tahini is not cheap, is it? I mean, it lasts. It will do quite a few portions. So yeah, I'll put that card up. Imagine the broad beans, instead of broad beans, using edamame beans, and also add 3 tablespoons of tahini. Right, I need to nosh down. I need to finish my lunch. Off you go. Definite thumbs up from me. Definitely going to be making this again. I think though, like I said, the artichoke hearts are a bit expensive. It's probably one not to have as an everyday, but have as a treat if I've got a friend or friends over for lunch, make it for all of us. A very quick postscript, having mullered my bowl. I've decided that for the next portion I will put garlic in my dressing, but that's a purely personal thing. I love garlic and it is really, really good for us. Maybe it's just habit, but I kind of, having finished a whole bowl full, I thought, oh yeah, I think it's missed it, so I'm going to try it with garlic as well. And it might be that actually it doesn't need it, but I want it just because I like it so much. And like as I'm mentioning, it's so good for us, so why not chuck it in wherever possible. Right, on that note, I'm going to go and wash up and get ready for the next part of my day. Until the next one, cheerio lovelies, take care. Have I got parsley on my teeth? Bye everyone.